It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing when you let your nuts hang. So he left off with me leaving the court. I was very perplexed because he had just said he had 5 baby moms and 4 children, and I only know of 3 baby moms, including myself, and 4 children. So I'm leaving the court. I'm hearing what the judge is saying, and I'm appreciative of it, but I'm also like, where did the other baby come from? And so I'm talking to my mom afterwards. We're going over what happened in the court. I'm pretty happy about it. I'm letting her know that I can start to pay most of the daycare and just things of that sort. And I'm sitting here like, where did the other baby come from? Is he even telling the truth? Then it dawned on me. There was one time, like a year ago, my kids had come home from some party with their grandparents, and they were saying, Daddy has a little baby, but and my daughter was saying, that's not my sister, Mom, but that's not my sister. Daddy's saying it's my sister, and it's not. And I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, that's his business. I don't have nothing to do with it at that time. So I really didn't even go any more into it. And I'm like, I wonder, was all those times he was getting so angry at me, was he mad at me because he was having another baby? You know what? It doesn't even matter at this point. So like I said, I'm getting myself into a routine, and I'm just minding my business, trying to do what I do. You know, I got a little extra help now. I can breathe a little bit. I can pay bills a little bit better now because everything isn't like super, super tight. He's asking to see the children. I will let him come through. He'd be on the porch. I'd be on the inside of the porch, and he'd stay, watch them, play with him for a little bit. Then he'd leave, and I'm right there, grab him back up and go on about our business. And what you guys have to understand is it's not like he's terrible 24/7. He has long periods of time where he is nice and kind and not doing anything to the children. They're having a good time. So you have to couple that with the fact that my children love their dad. Even though he was doing that horrible stuff, it didn't compute in my daughter's head immediately that this is a bad thing and I should stay away from. She still wanted to see her dad. So I'm dealing with knowing what he's doing to her, and there being months and months and months with her not seeing him and her saying, Mom, I want to see my dad. I miss my dad. I want to see my dad. So that's a hard place to be in. You know, if I didn't have children at the time and I was just looking from the outside, I would be like, oh, I'd never let them see him again. But when you're in that situation and you're trying to make the best decision for your children, the best decision for yourself, it's hard to say what you would and wouldn't do. But at this point, I'm just trying to do my best. So there had been a period of time where, things were smooth. I'm always no contact. Like, I will answer the phone the minute it's a piece of anything. I'm hanging up. I'm done with it. The minute you start arguing, I'm hanging up. I'm done with it. And most of the time when he has a girlfriend, he is cool. There's no issues, no problems. Everything is fine. So this is a couple years later, maybe a year and a half later. I decided, okay, I'm going to let him come to my son's birthday. It's out in public. It's going to be plenty of people there. I got a little extra money so that I can do it somewhere nicer rather than just in the park. My baby's getting ready to turn 5. So I'm excited. We have the party. Everything's fine. Of course, he comes, but there's so many people there that he has to put on a show. And I don't have to worry about, doing anything because the restaurant was taking care of everything. So it went smoothly. And I was like, okay, this is cool. So, of course, when my baby's birthday come around, she's like, Mommy, I want Daddy to come. I'm like, all right. At the last minute, I said, okay, I'll let him come. So I had planned this big party for her with all of her cousins, friends from school, neighbors, whole nine. And then we're going to spend the night, not all of the kids, but I handpicked about 5 of the children that we're going to have an overnight at a hotel. And then we swim in the morning. We go to the movies. After the movies, everybody come get your kids from my house. So everything was planned out. I had one of my good friends. She was recommending places for me. She was helping me with the party favors, doing the little bags. It was just going to be, I'm excited now, guys. So we're coming around to have my daughter's birthday party. Everything is going smoothly. All family is there. All cousins are there. Friends are there. Everybody is there. And it's still other people arriving. So we've got to go back. I'll tell that in the next part. But I had gotten in contact with baby mother number one. And we had gotten a relationship where she was comfortable allowing her daughter to come with me. I have gone over, talked to her, and again, we'll discuss that. And we had we still have a good rapport. No bad energy or anything like that. I found out so much information. It's unbelievable, but we'll get to that. So what I did was I let her know that my daughter was having a party. I would love for her daughter to be there. And did she mind if I came and got her? She said, absolutely. So I go, I pick her up. She's helping me with all the kids, especially before the party, getting the hotel room together. We get to the place where we're going to have the party. Everything is going smoothly. And she's sitting down at the table, helping me with the little kids. And everything is just really good. My baby daddy walks in. First, when he walks in, he's dressed nice. He's smiling. He's waving at everybody and everything. And then he gets into the party room. Once he gets into the party room, he sees that his daughter is there, his eldest daughter. And he was like, how did you get here? And the daughter said, well, I rode with Tara. What do you mean you rode with Tara? She picked me up from the house. She picked you up. Why does she know where you live at? Why does she pick you up? He literally goes bananas. He loses his stuff. He is screaming at her. He is talking like she's sitting down. He's talking over her head, close to her face, shouting. Spit is going everywhere. There are parents and kids looking like, what is going on? I have one of my friends who's trying to keep other people from coming into the room because he is going ballistic. She gets up and walks out of the party room and stands over the balcony, because there's a balcony where you can see over down where all the children are playing. She stands there. He runs to her. He is screaming at her. She's trying to get out of his path any way she can. He is literally following her around, calling her out of her name, talking about how horrible it is that she's here with me and how the bleep, bleep, bleep. It was so bad. And I come over there because I'm responsible for her at this point. I went and picked her up. I brought her here. I'm responsible for her. So I come over there. I'm like, stop it. Stop it. He turns to me and starts yelling, you don't tell me what to do. You don't tell me what to do. You ain't had no business talking to her mother and bringing her here without my permission. And I'm like, without your permission? What are you talking about? I'm like, listen, can you just calm down? Chill out. Like, chill out. We're at the party. We're out here in front of everybody. Everybody can see you. My daughter can see you. Your daughter is a child and you're screaming at her like she's an adult just because she came to her sister's party. So now my baby is crying. She is over there crying. My mom is trying to console her and he will not stop screaming. He is literally chasing her down to scream. Wherever she's walking, he's following her, screaming at her. It was so bad I had to go down to the police, the little security, and tell them he had to go. I'm like, he has to leave. And the security, which was a police officer, came over there. He said, man, you got to stop. You have to stop. He was like, you ain't going to tell me what to do. He was like, oh, okay, well, you got to go. Get it. You got to get out. So this man literally starts to walk down the stairs to leave, turns back around because he's still screaming. The police officer's like, man, I'm not trying to put hands on you. You got to get out of here. He's steady screaming. The police officer said, you can scream, but scream your way right out of here. He gets halfway down the stairs. He turns back around and says, I forgot something. I got to get my stuff. I got to get my stuff. This man turns around, walks back into the party room and takes the gift that he bought for my daughter for her birthday. And my daughter sees him do it and she just completely breaks down. I am devastated. My daughter's sister is devastated and embarrassed. I am embarrassed. My daughter is crying. She's saying she doesn't even want to be here anymore. She's ready to go. And the whole entire time, I'm trying to keep in contact with my... So when he snatches the baby's gift and runs down the stairs, I'm looking at my daughter. I'm looking at my daughter's sister. They're crying. I lose it for a second. I just take off running down the stairs because, baby, when it comes to my kids, I was about to snatch that gift right back up out of his hand. I get halfway down the stairs. My mother's like, go back upstairs. I told you don't run after no angry man. I was like, where's she always coming from? So I come back upstairs to where the party room is, and I get my daughter and I get my daughter's sister, and I'm trying to calm them down. I'm letting them know that it's not their fault. They didn't do anything wrong. It was okay. Just, it's going to be all right. And I'm also calling my daughter's sister's mom to let her know what happened. But her daughter had already called her and she could hear what was happening. And I was trying to tell her he's gone so she can stay. But baby, she a real mama just like me. Once she heard that hollering and screaming, she jumped in her car immediately, okay? 45-minute drive. She was like, I don't care, I'm out. So, or longer from where she lived. So, but my daughter's sister ended up staying for the end of the party because somehow my mother has this, she just has this being, something about her just switches the atmosphere, I promise y'all. So, she switched the atmosphere. She was talking, my mom would be praying, and literally, the atmosphere changed and everybody's having a good time now. And my baby sister stayed until she sang happy birthday, blew out her candles. And then she helped me take the kids downstairs, and she played with them for a while, played with my daughter for a while, and then she ended up leaving with her mom. So, like I told y'all before, I had gotten a hotel suite for the kids, not all of them, just about 5 of them. And my mom, myself, and one of my friends were staying, to help with the kids. So we got them to the hotel. The next morning, we wake up, we have a great breakfast. I took them swimming. After we finished swimming, I took them to the movies, and then, honey, their parents were supposed to come pick them up from the house, but I was tired. I was like, listen, what's y'all addresses? I'm dropping them off right now. So after I dropped all the kids off, now mind y'all, this is the next day. I drop all the children off, and I come back to the house, and I'm bringing the stuff into the house. And I've got the 2 kids. Now, I get inside the gate. I get upstairs. I'm 3/4 of the way up the stairs, and my phone is ringing back to back to back. And I'm like, I see that it's my uncle, but I'm like, let me get all of this stuff in the house. Let me get my babies in the house, and then I'll call him. So I open up the door. Half the things I sat down at the front door, and the other half I took in. I took my babies to the back, turned on the TV in the playroom, and I came back starting to get the stuff that was still at the front door. Well, when I open up the door, I see him, my baby daddy, coming up the stairs. So I slammed the door closed. He's like, open up the door. Open up the door. I got a gift from my baby. I want to give my baby her gift. And I'm like, you not coming in my house. Open up the door so I can give my baby her gift. I said, I'm not opening this door. You need to leave. You need to leave right now. He starts bamming on the door. Boom, boom, boom. Open up the door. I said, open up the door. Boom, boom, boom. You stupid bee, open up the door. I said, I'm not opening up this door. Get out of my house. What are you doing here? Who let you in? It don't matter. Open up the effing door, you stupid bee. Open up the door. So he's steady beating on the door. I refuse to open up the door. So I went back to go get my phone so I can call my uncle. So I called my uncle. I'm calling him and I'm running to the front door. He was like, I hope you die, you stupid bee. I can't wait for you to die, you stupid bee. I hate you. And as I'm calling my uncle is hearing this. So he's already out his apartment and up the stairs. He like, what are you doing, man? Get out of here. What are you doing? He's like, you're not supposed to be in here. I didn't know that she didn't want you in here. You gotta go. He was like, I'm not leaving until I give my baby her gifts. Open up the door, you stupid bee. He said, now that's what we're not getting ready to do. Now let me back up and reverse a little bit. I'm not a screamer and a hollerer and a curser. I will be quiet and walk away. Sometimes I'll cry, and sometimes the cry is not because I'm sad. I'm crying because I'm holding myself back and I'm so angry that I can't act the way that I want to act. So y'all, this time I done came completely out of character. I'm telling he calling me a stupid effing B. I call him a stupid effing B. He said, I hate you. I said, I hate you too and your mama. He said, I hope you die. I said, your mama already dead and she should have took you with her. When I tell you I was being so nasty right back, and it was like just not the type of person that I was, but I let anger take over. And so I turn back around because I hear my son running down the hallway. So I turn back around. I'm like, okay. I'm like, y'all go back into the playroom and close the glass door. Close it gently. You know, he looking like, you can't talk to me all nice and calm. I just heard you screaming and cussing. And so when I look back in the peephole, my uncle is like ushering him down the stairs, and he's still screaming, talking about some, she can't just tell me I can't see my baby. But now he turned into a crybaby now that my uncle talking to him. Like he was big, bad, and cussing. Now he about to cry when he talking to my uncle. So, like, you know, I had a good relationship with my baby's sister's mother. Now, when my baby, starting from when my son could walk, even before he could walk, every time her birthday would come up, I would go get her flowers, some cake, a gift, and always bring it to her. No, first of all, she would come to my house. Her mom would bring her to come in and pick it up all the time. Well, as she got older into her teenage years, when she's, you know, going out with her friends and stuff, her mom didn't always have time to bring her to my house and then take her out with her friends. So she's like, just, you know, come to the house and drop it off. So my son would be carrying this giant bouquet of flowers. Honey, the flowers was just as big as he was. My daughter would always have the cake, and I'd have a gift for her. So this particular year, they had just moved, and they were a little bit closer to me. So I was like, oh, okay, so I'm going to drop off your birthday stuff. So I come with the flowers and the cake and the birthday stuff. And of course, she's always so happy to get it. And this time, instead of her coming outside, she invited me in. So I said, okay, you should, you know, ask your mom, is it okay before I come in? She's like, yeah, my mom's the one who told you to come in. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I come in. She's like, I just want to tell you, thank you. You're always getting my daughter something nice. You're always thinking about her. And I just, you know, I wanted to meet you because I haven't met you before. And I was like, I've tried to meet you, but there's always an excuse of why I can't meet you. He was like, she said, well, I was trying to meet you too, but you know, he was telling me that you were crazy and unpredictable and nasty and just a terrible person. She said, but none of that made sense because every time my daughter would go spend the night, not only would she come home with clean clothes, she always came home with something new, something you had bought her. She's always talking about your grandmother and your great-grandmother, how they're always making sweets and cakes and stuff for her. And, like, it just wasn't adding up. And I was like, well, we know he's a liar. And I told her, I said, well, he had me believing that his second baby's mom was only the mother of both of the kids. And it wasn't until I was pregnant with my daughter that I found out that it was two of you guys. She was like, you know, that's how he is. So she started telling me all kind of stuff, how he was acting with her and how he didn't want her around her family either and all kind of stuff. And I'm like, wow, it just got progressively worse. And she said he was feeding those same stories to the second baby mom. But remember the story I had told y'all in the first couple videos about the interaction with the second baby's mom. So from that interaction and all the lies he was telling her, like, she don't mess with me. Like, she still to this day don't mess with me. We were in the same room at the oldest daughter's prom, and she didn't say nothing. And I was like, it's okay, it is what it is. So we're having a conversation. This lady tells me that this man has told her that the apartment that we were in, he got the apartment and bought it. But because I'm unpredictable and crazy, he was leaving me. And because I had the children, he left the apartment to me. She said, now I knew that was a lie. And she's like, I knew it was a lie because my daughter, how he bought the apartment, but my daughter telling me she going downstairs or to the second floor when your grandmother's baking or when your mother is getting ready to take y'all somewhere, getting ready to do something, or when you're doing so. How you going from apartment to apartment if it's just only one apartment that he got? She said, girl, I knew he was lying. And plus, he hadn't been able to keep his own place by himself ever. So please. And so we're just talking, having conversation, comparing notes, and he is telling some of the most bizarre lies ever for both ends. But we pretty much was aware of the lies anyway. And we were cool about it. Everything was fine. So there was a period of time where I had started dating. I'm not really talking about him. Now, remember I told y'all he had just had the other baby. He told me he got, well, not me, the judge, that he has 5 kids. So let me tell you how. So at this point, I put him on no contact. At first, I would answer text messages and stuff. Now, I'm not talking to you at all. You can't say nothing. I've got you blocked. I got you blocked on my phone. I want you blocked on my mom's phone, but I can't control that. So I had started dating. You know, my mom has us in a routine where every other week she'll keep the kids from me, and sometimes during the week. So I had a little time to be an adult. So, you know, that's what I'm doing. But one day, in between that, I get a phone call, and it's my best friend. I'm like, hey, she's like, hey, how you doing? I need to tell you something. Like immediately through the gates. I'm like, okay, what is it? Should I brace myself? She said, yeah. So I'm like, all right, what is it, child? So she says, remember my friend blah, blah? And I was like, yeah. Because during college, I used to fly down to my best friend's college, and we would go on spring break together. We'd drive to Myrtle Beach and just have a good time during, during our breaks and stuff. So she's like, you know what, I used to hang out with and drink stuff. I said, yeah, I know, I remember her. She says, well, she had a baby. And I was like, oh, good for her. She's like, and she's never posted any pictures of her baby daddy until today. And it's your baby daddy. Y'all, I'm sitting here like, of all the people in the world to have children with, you find somebody who's connected to me in some sort of way, who I've met before. Come on now. I'm not saying they did it on purpose, but I'm just saying, what are the odds of that? Come on now. The atmosphere, okay? So I told her, I said, you know what? That ain't got nothing to do with me. I can't even deal with that right now. She was like, well, she started messing with him right after you put her out. I mean, you put him out, and he was staying the nights with his step-parents. Somebody asked a question about that. I'll explain it later. With his step-parents. And she lived like up the block. So he started messing with her and staying at her house. I'm like, man, I just can't. So that's where the fifth baby and the fourth baby mama came from. So during this time, my daughter, I'm noticing that her behavior is not great. And I can't fault my baby because she has seen some traumatic things, and she's still just a little girl. She's angry. She's angry because she saw that her dad was in the house and then he's no longer there. She's angry because of the things he's doing to her. She's angry because, all of this situation. And she's just a baby. She doesn't know how to handle this. So it's coming out in outbursts. It's coming out in her upset. It's coming out in her slamming doors and screaming and things of that sort. And on top of it, she has ADHD. She's dealing with a lot as a little baby. So I'm trying my best to figure it out. I'm taking her to therapy. She has a psychiatrist. She's seeing her pediatrician, and they're telling me, well, she has ADHD, so she needs to be on medication because you're telling me about all this outbursts and all this stuff. But I'm telling them that some of this is attributed to what she's seeing. So I'm just not going to medicate her up because of this. And they're like, well, it's the best thing to do, blah, blah, blah. And then at first I was like, maybe that's a good idea. But then I realized it would ease my distress with what was happening. But then she'd have to be on medication her whole life. And I just can't see that, you a little tiny girl and you got to have this medication for the rest of your life. What if it stops working? Then what you going to do? Go to another drug? No, ma'am, Pam, we're not doing that. So I'm trying to deal with it. It's stressing me out, but listen, we gotta work through this together as a family. So we're watching movies, y'all, and one night I see her little head just doing like this. And I'm like, does she have on the little headphones like this? So I come around to the front of her and I see she doesn't have headphones. I said, baby, why you keep doing your neck like that? And she's like, I don't know, mommy. I don't know. And I was like, okay. And I'm noticing that she's still doing it, y'all. She's still doing it. And it progressed to the next, this was over a weekend. So the next morning, she's still doing it. And now she's telling me that her neck is aching from her doing that. And I'm super concerned. So immediately I called to make an appointment with the pediatrician. So we go into the appointment and I'm like, she's jerking her neck like this. And then she's also rolling her eyes up like this. And I'm like, and she's saying she doesn't know why she's doing it. And she really can't stop doing it. And the doctors was like, these are tics. And I was like, tics? What do you mean tics? They were like, it's involuntary movement. And I'm like, well, where does this come from? And they're telling me that most times when children have involuntary movements, which are the tics, it's because of stress. Y'all, I am devastated that I've put my baby into a situation where her body is acting out because of all of the stress. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. So that put me into super mom mode where like, you can't see my baby. I'm not talking about her, his name in front of her. I'm just trying to keep her, as safe and as comfortable as possible. But y'all, it started getting worse. It went from the little neck thing to the eye rolling to y'all, I had to keep her home because it was 1000% all out screaming from literally like the depths of her soul, so much so that it was blood coming out of her throat because it was weeks of this, of like literal, when I tell y'all, pure gut-wrenching screaming. Like she could not control it. Like, and she would feel so bad that she was doing it, that she would go in her room, close the door and put her head in the pillow and she is screaming, y'all. It was so bad. Like it breaks my heart thinking about it right now because she was so little and she couldn't control it. And I was stressed out and she was stressed out. And the stress of us being stressed out was making the tics come more. My son, he didn't know what was going on. He just walking around like, what is happening here? Like like in my building, I had to tell the neighbors across the hall because we had one set of neighbors it's one family other than us in the building. So I had to tell them across the hall, like, I'm not in here strangling her. This is what's happening. And she didn't want to go anywhere because she didn't know when she would start screaming. So I'm just trying to figure this thing out without medicating my baby. So I started getting her like fidget toys and clays and slime because it seemed as if when she's creating that it would stop. So I started getting her all these things to help her be creative. And then I found out one day she was screaming so bad and I wanted to scream, y'all. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't because it would have induced more anxiety and caused her to do it more. So I just turned the big speakers on in the house and I had two sets of speakers, one in the very back and one in the front, and I turned them up as loud as they would go. And I started playing Lauryn Hill CD. I started playing, who else was it? Jasmine Sullivan. I started playing just all of this neo soul music and all this music as loud as it would go. And I thought she was screaming, but I could barely hear it because it was so loud. So y'all, I'm just in here, like literally in the front room, just trying to zone out and dance to the music because I'm just like losing it, right? So I could hear her voice coming above the music, but slightly. So I'm thinking that she's screaming again, but then I'm paying attention, y'all, and she's singing. So I'm like, okay. So every day after that, I wasn't playing it blasting loud because I wasn't trying to disturb anybody. But every day I'm turning the music on. When we're having breakfast, after we wake up and say our prayers and get ready, turn the music on. The music's in the car. The music's in the house. The music, I even have it playing when we're like in my purse when we're walking somewhere. Somehow the music literally clicked something in her mind to sing rather than to scream. Now she was still having some of the tics, like she would sniff a lot like that, or she'd there was just one point in time where for some odd reason we were watching a video about some goats that when they get scared they just freeze up and just fall over, and like she started freezing up. So I had to be very careful what she watched because the tics, at first it seems as if she was doing it on purpose, but she really wasn't. Like, so when it comes to my baby, I'm willing to do anything for her. And I'm noticing that music is helping her to function better. So yeah, I'm playing music everywhere. Everywhere. I have all of the old school music playing. I have all of the old school music playing. I've got Lauryn Hill, the Isley Brothers, like every old school music you can think of. I'm playing it, and I'm playing it out loud because my baby is not about to be stressed out and suffering. So it's starting to calm down, and she's starting to be more comfortable. She's still having the tics, but the screams have gone away. It's been a couple months, and she's not screaming anymore, but she's still having some tics, like the sniffing and things of that sort. Y'all, when I tell y'all I was taking my baby on vacations, like in the middle of the week, because it's like, okay, I got it. I know she loves the beach. I know she loves the water. And right now this screaming is out of hand. I was very nervous to take her on a plane, but I put her headphones on her and we made it just fine as long as the trips were, 6 hours or less. I was taking her to concerts, like literally anything I can do. Y'all, I had my baby at the Lizzo concert, at everything, because music stimulates her mind and it clicks for her and like it cuts off whatever stress that is. So baby, I didn't care. I was doing it. So we had gone to a concert and I took my son with me as well. He's little, but so what? And on our way home, he says, "We don't keep secrets, right, mommy?" And I was like, "That's right. We do not keep secrets." And he says, "Unless it's a secret from my sister that's not going to harm us, right?" I'm like, "Right." Because I'm like, "Baby, tell me what the secret is, because now I'm nervous." He says, "Well, Daddy's been coming up to the school to see me, and he had just come up for my birthday." And I was like, "Okay. Well, thank you so much for telling me. I really appreciate that." I gave him a kiss and a hug, and I told him, "Thank you for being honest." I asked him, I said, "Well, how does that make you feel?" He said, "It made me feel good because I miss my daddy a lot, and I love my daddy." And I was like, "Okay." He was like, "And we don't see him anymore, and it really makes me sad." And y'all, I'm just like, I don't know what to do. So I just let him tell me how he felt. Tell me what he was thinking about. And I'm like, first of all, I'm mad at the school, because how y'all letting this man come up in the school not informing me to see him? That's number one. Number two, why are you calling him out of class? Like, are you kidding me? I don't know. I just didn't like it. So I was like, I got to figure something out, because he's like, "I really want to see my daddy, Mom. Like, I really want to spend some time with him." And you guys have to realize he's seeing what his dad is doing to his sister and me, but his father's never doing it to him. He's never, like, to the point where I had to tell him to put him down because he can walk. He's 5 years old. You don't have to carry him like a baby. And in comparison to my daughter, who, when she was 3, he was telling me she got it. She could do it herself. He has a serious problem with women, y'all. He does not like women. He can say he likes women all day. He does not like women. So, he might be attracted to women, but he don't like them. So when I figured that out, I'm like, I gotta figure out how to do this. I'm not exactly sure how to do this, but that's at the least of my worries right now. I'm just trying to make sure that my daughter is, that she's coping well, because she wants to go back to school. So I got together. We got an IEP for my daughter at school. So if she felt something was happening, she could leave without there being issues. She was allowed to have stimulating toys with her. She was allowed to have time off during the day for her to have therapy. They were just so very accommodating for my baby. And this is why I wanted her in a private school. They were very accommodating. So much so to the fact where we asked if she was comfortable enough sharing it with the students. And at first she was a little apprehensive. Then she's like, "Well, why not?" Because I told him, I was like, if they're your friends, it doesn't matter, your struggles, they're still going to be your friends. So she shared it with her friends, and they were so very supportive, so very kind to her, so very considerate. They were just paying attention to her to make sure, like, if they thought she was having an episode, they would do all the things that she told them helped. They were helping her take notes. Sometimes when she would have to leave, they'd make an extra set of notes for her, y'all. They were just so good with my baby. So the tics started to go from like all the time to every now and again. The screams totally stopped. Once we started playing that music, literally, she also was allowed to have headphones in the classroom. So whenever she felt panicky or anxious, she could put her headphones in and it would help her. So the screams completely stopped. Thank God, because it was, those were the worst months of my baby's life, and mine too, because I couldn't help her. But she would still have like the eye rolling ones or like the neck ones every now and again, until slowly they came few and far between. And even to this day, this, like I said, this was years and years and years ago, but even to this day, every now and again, I'll see when her eyes are bucked in a little eye roll or something like that. And it's normally when I can tell that she's stressed, or there's something bothering her that she doesn't know how to handle. So those are telltale signs. But in the process of me blasting this music, y'all, my daughter, I realized she can sing. She can sing. She can hear notes and things that other people can't hear. Like, she would be an amazing producer, because the way she puts songs together, the way she catches a beat in one song and can connect it to another song and make a playlist that is like so smooth and incredible, y'all. And she's, like I said, she sings well. She's too nervous to do it in front of people just yet, but I've already signed her up for vocal coaching. So, hopefully that'll get her out of her shell, because she has a beautiful voice. And not only is it beautiful, it echoes. Like, she doesn't even have to have a mic, and it echoes, and she can hear every small beat. Y'all, she can hear stuff that I can't hear, or other people her age can't hear. She'll like, you hear that. And then her and her brother will get together, and I got them this little machine where it can make beats and stuff. Well, you press the squares and it'll make the sound of like some drums, or you press this and it'll make a piano sound. So they get in their room for hours, y'all, and they be in there. My daughter's writing raps, and she's singing songs, and she's making beats, and it is just incredible. And I'm trying not to like force them, like, hey, you need to do it more, but it's so good. Like, y'all don't even understand. These kids are like, they're good. They're really good, but I don't want to force anything on them. So I'm just giving them their freedom and their space to do that. But I know that kind of music therapy has helped her so very much, because, y'all, I did not want to put my baby on medication. I didn't know what to do. I was completely stressed out and overwhelmed. And of course, I don't have any help outside of my mom, doing all the research and all the stuff too. So I was so grateful that we were able to come together and figure out that music is her therapy. And y'all, it has helped so, so very much. So let's get to back to the fact that my baby daddy is going up to the school, calling my son out of school to see him. So my son's like, Mom, I love you so much, and I don't like the way that daddy treats my sister. I don't like the way that he treats you. Now, mind you, he's a little boy. He not like, the way he talks to me, you would think he's 14, 15, 16. He was not. He was like 5 and 6 at this time. And he's like, Mom, but I really want to see my dad. So I'm stuck between, like, I don't want to call and talk to him. And my daughter doesn't want to see him. But I don't want to ever be in a situation where my son is saying, Mommy, you never let me see my daddy. And I try my best, even though they see all this stuff, I try my best not to talk bad about him in front of them. But I'm still perplexed. Like, should I let him, my son, see his dad? Even though, he's never done anything to my son. All the stuff that he's done to my daughter, he's never done it to my son. It's always my daughter, because I told y'all he does not like women. So I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and let my son. There was a period of time where, he's working more. because there was a gap, like about, not a gap, but like a year or so, or maybe 2 years, that he's getting minimal contact with my kids, literally minimal contact. But his behavior is improving, and I'm attributing it to he has his own place. He's getting he's got a girlfriend. He's making more money, so he should be happier. Now, I wasn't taking him to child support because of him making more money, because he was making about double what he was initially making when child support was mandated. My kids' needs were taken care of, so there was no need for me to do that again. And plus, I literally hate court. Okay, so it was it was a good situation. So this one time, it was around Christmas. He's like, "Hey, can you go to Zoo Lights with me and the kids?" And I'm like, "Don't you have a girlfriend? Why don't you take her?" He's like, "Well, the kids want you to come and I want you to come." And I'm like, "I do not want to go." But he's putting it in my kids' ear. My kids are begging me. So I was like, "Okay, I'll go." So we get dressed. We go to Zoo Lights. No issues, no problems, besides him trying to take all these pictures. And I'm like, "I'm not your girl, so no." I even told him, I was like, make sure she knows, you know what I'm saying? And everything was cool. Everything was fun. Then I normally do a big Christmas Eve. So I was telling him, when do you want to see the kids? You can see them on Christmas after they open up all their gifts and stuff. And he's like, "No, I want them on Christmas Eve." I'm like, that we have a Christmas tradition that we do every single year. He's like, "Well, can you do that tradition at my house?" And I'm like, "No, I don't want to do that, because not only am I going to have to take all the stuff to your house, I'm going to have to be at your house. And I've never been there and never desired to be there." But again, my kids are begging, "Mommy, please, Mommy, please," because they're seeing that there's no drama, there's no issue, everything is fine. So I said, okay. I get me and the kids only matching pajamas. I get all of our stuff that I take over there to, do our tradition. So it's going smoothly. There's no issues. The kids are doing the things that they're doing. They're mixing up their stuff. They're being creative. All the stuff that we do as a family. And I let them open up one gift at the time that night. So we're over there and everything's pretty smooth. But he keeps saying, like, stay the night. I'm like, He's like, "Why don't you spend the night?" I'm like, "No, I'm not spending the night." He's like, "It's getting late." I said, "That's why I'm getting ready to go, because it's getting late." And he's steady, asking me to spend the night. And I know he got cameras up in his place. So he's like, "I got to make a run real quick to the store because the kids wanted some Chinese food or something." So he leaves, honey. I stay parked right there in the kitchen, between the kitchen and the front room. Did not move, okay? Because I don't want no parts of what you got going on. I'm only here for my kids. I don't even know if this is the right thing to do at the time. I don't know. I'm just trying to make it work, okay, without it being drama. So he comes back, and then he goes in his room and he changes out of his jeans into some like very thin pajama pants. I'm like, here he go, trying to tempt me with the winky dink. I don't need it, don't want it, ain't thinking about it. So when I saw that, I'm like, "Okay, y'all, I'm getting ready to go. Are you guys gonna come home with Mommy, or you want to spend the night until the morning?" And they're like, "We want to spend the night into the morning. Can you stay?" I was like, "Absolutely not. Mommy is not staying. Am not staying. Not gonna happen." And they're like, "Okay." So he's like, steady trying to get me to stay. And that's when I just got up. I'm like, "We're not even going to talk about this more." I got up, packed up all of our boxes and stuff, start walking it out to the car. So I walk it out to the car, and I put the stuff in the car, and I get on the phone to make sure that they want to stay. I'm like, "Are you guys comfortable? Are you sure? Because, you're not going to be able to wake up at 6 a.m. and open up your gifts. Are y'all sure?" Before Mommy pulls off. They're like, "Yeah, Daddy said he's going to bring me home in the morning." So I'm like, okay. While I'm talking to my daughter, I can hear my baby goes, Mommy, Daddy's saying something about you. And I can hear him on the phone in the adjacent room telling his girlfriend, "Yeah, this B just left. I'm begging her to leave. She's trying to stay here, trying to stay the night. I'm telling this B to go home." In what world was I trying to stay? I'm like, I cannot with this man. It wasn't even worth addressing. I just made sure that, "Hey, baby, you want to stay? Okay. Now I'm going to see y'all at 10 in the morning or 11 in the morning." And that was it. So then there was another instance. And this is the really big instance that got really wild. It was actually two. The first instance is, I had a training, and it was out of town. Now, my mom's a snowbird, which means in the summertime, she'll be here. In the wintertime, honey, she's going to her house in the warmer weather, because no ma'am. So she wasn't here at the time. My best friend, they couldn't do it for some odd reason. So I needed somebody to watch my children while I did this training. And they still had to go to school, still need their routine. And y'all, he has never, since they were born, had to be the sole provider of feeding them 3 times a day, getting them dressed, getting them up for school, taking them to school, bringing them back, helping with homework. He's never done that in the whole history, probably, of having children at all. But I can for sure say at this time with my children. So I'm very nervous about it. But at this time, my hands are super tied. Everybody's gone or busy. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have to go to this training, and it's out of town. And they were telling me that I can either come back after the training, or I could come back on the weekends, but it was for like 2 or 3 weeks or something like that. And I'm like, geez. My mom was like, well, they can come here. But I'm like, Ma, if they come here, they're going to miss way too much school. And she's like, I'm going to try to get there, but I cannot guarantee that I'm going to be able to get there this week that is happening. But I can, after that week, for sure, I can get there. So I'm like, she's like, they should be okay. And I'm like, yeah, they should be fine, because it's been like a year of coolness, because he got a whole girlfriend. He should be happy. So I'm like, God, I can't lose my job, because it was a mandatory training and I couldn't reschedule it. So, because I had already rescheduled it. So I'm like, I gotta let them stay there for about 5 days. Because on the weekends I fly home, I can get them. So just 5 days. It's a steady routine. Like, you can't mess this up. So they're staying there, and the girlfriend is there. And the first weird thing this woman does is she's like, so, does your dad have any other women over? And like, do y'all hang out with other girls and other women? And I'm sitting here like, why are you asking children about your man? Ask your man. And my poor baby was like, oh, she was like thinking the lady's trying to bond with her. I'm like, no, this lady is trying to get information about your dad through you, baby. You are not obligated. If she asks you any adult questions, you say you have to talk to my dad or you have to talk to my mom. Those are not appropriate questions to get to know you as a person. And my baby was like, oh man, I thought she was just trying to get to know me. I was like, no, she was trying to get information out of you. Always, if it's an adult question, you have to say you have to talk to my mom or you have to talk to my dad about that. So I'm like, I'm all weirded out, and because I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, you're an adult. You're not supposed to be doing stuff like this. So, she's there. The first couple days, they seem fine, no issues. The second couple days, I noticed my baby's like I can tell her personality is changing. She's not feeling that great. And she's like, every time I come home, he's making me clean this and he's making me do this and he's making me like do all this stuff, like mop the walls or something. I said, mop the walls? I was like, well, baby, what is he saying? That I have to have chores. I said, well, what is your brother doing? He's not making my brother do anything, Ma. And I'm like, okay, mommy's almost home. I just got a couple more days. We are going to be fine. So it just so happened the day that this is happening, my mom had flew into town. And I'm calling them and there's no answer. I'm calling my daughter. She's not answering. I'm blowing her phone up. There is no answer. I'm calling my son and he's like, Mommy, Zion, Daddy's in the room with Zion and he's yelling at her. And I'm like, what do you mean he's yelling at her? He's yelling at her and he's in the room. So I'm blowing my baby's phone up, blowing her phone up. She's not answering. And my son is like, that's because daddy took. So y'all, I'm calling because why do you have my daughter locked in the room screaming at her? Why is my son afraid to take the phone in there to you? And why did you snatch his phone and cut it off. So y'all, I'm blowing his phone down. He's not answering it. Finally, he answered the phone. I'm like, what are you doing? He was like, don't worry about what I'm doing in my house. I said, I'm worried about what you're doing in your house because my children are there. What is happening? And he's like, don't worry about what's happening. I said, well, my son is afraid to take his phone. He was afraid to take his phone to you so that I can talk to you. And I can't get in contact with my daughter because you took her phone. What is happening here? She is grown and she's not going to do what she want to do and talk how she want to talk in my house and blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, there is a way to deal with that. Absolutely, respect is supposed to happen, but there's a way to deal with it. And from what I'm hearing, you're not dealing with. You ain't hear nothing. I said, yes, I did. My son was on the phone because he was afraid of what you were doing to her. And I could hear how you were speaking to her. And it sounded like you were hitting her. Don't worry about what I'm doing on my phone. Click. So then my baby has her computer and she's Google Duoing me or Google messaging me. And the messages are coming to my email. Mommy, come get me. Mommy, please. I'm scared. Mommy, please come get me. He's hitting me. Come get me. Come get me. Y'all, my heart is beating out of my chest because I'm like, I don't know what to do. But just so happened, this is how good God is. My mom had flew into town. Like, even though she wasn't supposed to be there, she got a flight. She got done with her contract. She got a flight and she got back to Chicago. So while initially, soon as my son was like, he got her locked in the room, I called my mom. My mom was en route. Like, I'm trying to remember his address and all kind of stuff. So my mom's already en route. And he's like, won't let me talk to her. Then when he realized she had the computer, because he's still on the phone telling me what he's not going to do, he had went in the room and snatched her computer from her too. I told you don't be on my Wi-Fi like that. And I told you don't be using the computer. She was like, it's my computer. But I told you to get off of him. So he takes the computer from her. So now she has no means of communication whatsoever. Mind you, my mother is still en route. My mama is en route. So she's like, he tells me, you so concerned, then come get her then. And I'm like, you know that I'm out of town. He's like, exactly. Ain't nothing you can do about it. I said, ooh. As he's saying ain't nothing you can do about it, I can hear his doorbell ringing. And when he see that it's my mother said, give me my grandkids. Y'all go pack y'all. So she didn't even ask to come in. She walked right in there. And he's like, hey, you came to get the kids. She's like, hey, I ain't got nothing to say to you. Let my kids pack their stuff so that they can go. And he's like, I want to introduce you to my girlfriend. And my mother's sitting there like, listen, I'm going to be cordial so I can get my babies up out of here. But I'm not interested in nothing you talking about. So she wobbles her ass in there and talking about some, hi, nice to meet you. Nobody wants to meet you. First of all, you're letting him do this to children. That's number one. Number two, what are you doing, sir? What are you doing to my kid? My baby was so upset. She runs to my grandmother and my mama was like, where's her phone? Where's her computer? He's like, oh, I got it. Trying to be all nice and calm. Like he was just not acting a plumb, utter fool with my children. Like he is trying to pretend like he was being a good dad and it was just not happening. So my mom gets my babies and I ask her what happened. And she tells me what happened. And it was ridiculous, right? So then there is like 7 or 8 months that have passed. This is another situation. They go to the movies or something, or to ride their bikes. Because remember, I had told y'all, he had gotten his place and he wanted to ride his bike. Y'all, I pulled a picture off the wall, and I messed it up back there. But anyway, so this incident. They were coming home. I had just bought my baby a brand new tablet. Something happened. He didn't like, he's always saying like he doesn't like her attitude. My baby has a bubbly, loud attitude. And like, because he doesn't like women, she's supposed to just be quiet and shut up and not say nothing. Now, she's not being disrespectful, but the mere fact that she's talking to him is disrespectful. My baby is loud. She's always talking. She's always listening to music and all that. So he doesn't like that. He doesn't know how to handle it. And after he's been around her for some time, this is before I realized what was happening. He is like very mean and very angry, especially like if he's got somewhere else to go. Like they could be having a smooth, wonderful day. The minute somebody call and tell him he needs to do something, then he's trying to rush and get them back. And once my baby starts to be rushed, like it frazzles her, so she's not moving as fast and she's forgetting stuff and's got to double back and she's all nervous. And he's like, we got to go because I got to go be blah, 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 blah. So this particular time, she has her tablet in the car, and he starts telling her that the way, like her tone of voice was terrible. And she was asking, how was my tone? Can you tell me so that, I know what you're talking about? He's telling her, don't ask him questions. Now, the reason why I know this is because she was in the process of FaceTiming me on her tablet. And so the FaceTime, I'm on the screen, but he doesn't know that I'm on the screen. And he's like, don't be questioning me. Don't ask me no questions. So y'all, she is looking back at the phone. He's like, what you keep looking back at the phone? She's like, because I was calling mommy. He takes her tablet and cracks it. When you with me, don't call your mother. Now he cracks the tablet screen and you can no longer see me. But the phone call is still connected. And y'all, he is going ham on my baby. He hit my baby. He told her she couldn't get her stuff. He had her hand twisted up and turned up, and she kept saying, you're hurting me. You're hurting me. Let me go. You're hurting me. You're hurting me. And y'all, I'm on the phone in my car because I don't know where to drive or where to go. And my mom's like, because I got two phones. My mom's like, you got to go back to the house because he's bringing them to the house because they were en route back to me. So I'm driving and I'm so angry because I can hear everything she's saying. Daddy, you're hurting me. You're twisting my arm. It hurts so bad. And then he's twisting her arm. He lets her arm go and he hits her thigh. And she's like, ouch, why are you hitting me? Don't ask me why I'm hitting you. Don't ask me why I'm hitting you. And you better not say S-H-I-T to your mother. You better not go in there saying S-H-I-T to her. Now, whole time, y'all, I am on the phone. I can hear it. But he doesn't know that I'm on the phone because the screen is cracked and it's just all I can hear. So, y'all, I am in panic mode. I am trying to find my baby. And I thought they were almost at the house. And he had gone back to his house. And he was like, she was like, can I get my stuff? He's like, no, you're not getting nothing. Everything that's in the house, staying in the house. She's like, but mommy bought that. I don't give a F if she bought it or not. It's staying with me. You're not getting nothing. It's all staying with me. Now get back in the car and don't leave out the car. And I'm sitting here like I am panicked. So when he goes in the house, she's like, mommy, are you still there? I'm like, I'm absolutely there, baby. Calm down. Just relax. It is okay. Just be quiet. Calm down. Don't say anything to him. Just get to mommy. I'm going to head back to the house because I was on my way to you. But mommy's going to head back to the house. Just whatever he says, yes, sir, you're right. Okay. Okay. Yes, sir, you're right. Okay. And you'll be to me in a second, baby. Just hang in there. And she is crying. She's like, mommy, my wrist hurts so bad. My arm hurts so bad. He gets back in the car and he hands my son his stuff in his bag. And my baby says, what about my stuff? He said, I told you weren't getting your stuff. I said that already. So I'm like, God, please just let her be quiet. So he was like, you make me do this stuff to you. I don't want to do this stuff to you, but your mouth and the way you behave is just terrible. You act like you don't have no sense. And my baby makes the mistake and says, I do that same stuff, Daddy. You don't do it to me. And he turns back around and says, you don't act like she acts. He says, I act worse than she acts, and you don't do that stuff to me. Well, it doesn't matter. We're not talking about you right now. We're talking about her. And I bet not hear that you go in there and tell her nothing. You bet not tell your mother nothing. You bet not say nothing to her. When you get in there, you better shut your mouth. You better go to your room and you better be quiet. You better not say nothing. Whole time, y'all, I can hear him. And I am just in tears. I am angry. I'm upset. I'm like, God, get my baby back to this house. So finally she gets back to the house and I hear him pulling up. He's like, wipe your face, wipe your eyes, wipe your tears. You better not shed a tear once you get in there with her. You better not shed a tear. You better not shed a tear. Wipe your eyes and fix your... Day and night. For some women, it can start working in as fast as 1 week.